Hi, I'm Nicole Kemper. I'm a writer, actor, and filmmaker living in Atlanta, Georgia. This is 50 Foot Woman, and I've committed to shooting at least one roll of motion picture film per month. Today, I wanted to talk about a film stock that I love, Ektachrome. Most color film stocks are offered as negative film, and in the case of negative film, you have to reverse the image in order to see a normal image. Because Ektachrome is a color reversal film, it can be projected. I don't currently have a projector, but hoping to get one soon. And of course, once I do, I will do a future video about it. Ektachrome is known for its very saturated, colorful look. And it's also known for being a little bit more challenging exposure-wise than negative film. Ektachrome, or any color reversal film or slide film, tends to be sort of less forgiving. So you have to be really exact on your measurements. If you're overexposed or underexposed, it's a lot harder to fix those things in post. Which is definitely something that we'll get a look at today when we look at some of the footage that I shot. So basically with Ektachrome, you need to, if you want to get a really good result, you have to be very exact about your exposure. I have a tendency when I'm working with a camera where I can choose the exposure. So basically my double-8 camera, most of my Super 8 cameras are automatic, as Super 8 cameras tend to be. But with the double-8 camera, you set your own aperture, and I tend to overexpose by one stop simply because I find that I get better results in post when I do that. But typically with Ektachrome, you really don't want to overexpose if you can avoid it. So I've got two different rolls to look at today. One I shot in my double-8 camera, which is this guy, which I recently did a video about. So I shot one roll of Ektachrome here in my double-8 camera, and I shot the other in my trusty Bell & Howell 431 Super 8 camera. So I wanted to take a look at both and kind of compare them a little bit. I think this also gives us an opportunity to look at the differences between double-8 film and Super 8 film. In terms of size, they're similar, but not exactly the same. As you can see, the double-8 film is slightly smaller than the Super 8 film, and also the perforations are a little bit different. Let's take a look at the roll of Super 8 film first. This cartridge of Super 8 was developed and scanned by Negative Land. Okay, so I shot this in Virginia at my father-in-law's place. He's got sort of this like, they live in this sort of rural area, and they have goats, and they've got like a big property, and the kids like to feed the goats when we're there, and also like to take a walk in the woods. And so that's what we did. I immediately love the color. My daughter actually crocheted that poncho that she's wearing herself, and I really love the red. And of course, my son's got that crazy sort of like colorful dinosaur shirt on. I really love the way the colors looked, but also even like the earth tones. There's a lot of earth tones in this image with the fur of the goats, and of course it was winter time, so you've got a lot of browns and grays with the woods and the trees and all of that. And I really, really love even just how the earth tones are rendered in this particular film stock. So I definitely relied less on this of course was shot on my Bell & Howell 431, and which I've had some issues getting my shots in focus in the past. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. And so this time I relied a lot more on trying to gauge distance. I didn't measure anything because of course this was all very on the fly. But I did try, I'm trying to sort of gauge distance. I love this spinning like windmill thing here, and the image of the house. And then of course we went on a walk, and I love the way that red and black poncho stands out in all these sort of earth tone colors. Anyway, I really tried to gauge more distance for focal length instead of eyeballing the focus myself. And I think that that was a good choice. I think that this, now this was an overcast day, which I think really helped with this particular stock because it made the exposure a lot more even. You'll see in the other roll that I shot on 8.8 that it was a really bright day, and so there was some inconsistency in shaded areas and in the brighter areas. And with this this overcast day was really just perfect, I think, for this particular type of stock, and the fact that you have to be so accurate. The lighting's really even and everything looks really nice. And then I just kind of finished up the roll trying to wrap it up by shooting some of my neighborhoods, so I could go ahead and send this off to be developed. Okay, so let's move on to the 8.8 roll. This roll was developed and scanned by the Film Photography Project. So the other roll was shot in January. This one was shot in October. We were doing our annual trip to the pumpkin patch to pick out a pumpkin, and they have basically like a fall festival. Right off the bat, the area we were standing in when I first started shooting was also, I don't think I had this is the first one of the, well, it wasn't the first time I took out this camera, but I definitely had this closed down all the way. But as you can see, it was very, very bright outside, and you can see just how overexposed these first shots are. I've not taken this into DaVinci yet. I am going to, so I don't know what's going to happen. And you can see a lot of this stuff outside, and it might have been, I don't remember if I even had, maybe I had the exposure set incorrectly. I think I did just have this thing closed down like all day. And of course, I think it only goes, I can't remember. Let me look at how far. Now you can see in the shade, it looks much better, and you're getting really good colors and all of that. I think that the smallest aperture, so the most closed down we can get, I think, on that 8.8 camera is 16. But you can see in the shade, looks good. Once we get out into the sun, pretty overexposed. Can we do anything with this image? I think we'll just have to take it into DaVinci and find out. So I got this back before the Super 8 footage, and even though it was overexposed, I was immediately just like taken with how saturated and colorful everything is, as is an aesthetic that I really like. Now this was in the tent, under a tent, so we're eating lunch under a tent, and so it's a little underexposed. I think I was as open as I could be, but even still, I think even for being under the tent, this film is very sensitive, and it's still picking up a good image, even though we're like very, very in the shade here. And I'm hopeful that we can do something with that. I think this was a good mix here where, we're sort of in a shaded area. The direct sunlight seemed to be not great for this particular stock in this camera. But you can see the areas where it's not shaded are still very overexposed. Okay, so I did go to ended up in a bathroom stall flipping the roll because of course 8.8, you flip it after you shoot the first 25 feet and you shoot down the other side. So here we are looking at some farm animals. Again, shaded area looks really nice. Definitely in the shade, I'm seeing like a much cooler temperature, which I think is indicative of that Kodak Ektachrome. This pig, poor guy, very overexposed. Not sure if it's probably so blown out, we're not really going to get anything out of this. But the chickens look nice, and I think we can definitely pull this up a bit and warm it up. As the day went on, the sun started to sink a little bit more, and now I think we're seeing some better exposure. So the second half of this roll, I think, has some better exposure on it. Again, I was pretty much closed down as I could get the whole day, and earlier in the day was just too bright. But this is looking pretty good. Again, a little bit overexposed here with the little carts and stuff. But maybe we can do something with that. But yeah, the parts that are exposed correctly really have that classic 8mm home movie, like saturated look. And I love it. I really, really love it. So when it's exposed properly, I am obsessed. It looks really nice. Some cornfields for those of you that are into corn. Yeah, I mean, look, you can do this. You can make this look happen in post. But there's something really exciting about getting your film back and seeing it this colorful. It's nice when you get it back and you're like, wow, that looks amazing. They had a candy cannon. Yes, they shoot candy in the air several times a day, and so I was able to capture that. Oh, the other thing is, this was another day where I had a microphone clipped to my bag, and so I do have some sound that when I cut this together, I'm gonna incorporate. And so here we are picking out our pumpkins at the end of the day. The sun was really starting to get lower. I mean, not, it's still a bit overhead, but the sun was starting to, it was a bit lower at this time, coming in at a more side angle. And I think we're getting a better exposure here than we were. And there we are, getting to the end of the rolls. My son is rolling away his pumpkin that he chose. And that's it. So reflections on looking at the 88 and the Super 8, just raw with no color grading whatsoever. So certainly the overcast day, I think, really worked out in my favor on that with that Super 8 footage. I think if it had been just a little less sun, then we would have gotten into an issue where it was underexposed, but the even light worked really well with this film stock. I can definitely see in the 88 how a really sunny day and overexposing the footage, if it's overexposed, it's like really overexposed. Now the question is on some of the shots where, because if it's so overexposed, like there's that shot of the pig, it's so overexposed, you've got complete loss of detail. I really don't think there's anything to be done with that shot. But there's some shots where it's overexposed, but there's still some detail in the image, and like, can we do anything with it in DaVinci to fix it? I don't know. All I know is that I've heard that this stock is less forgiving. When we're talking about digital post-production and the capabilities of DaVinci Resolve, there's just so much we can do. I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing what exactly we can do. Why do I have so many Bell & Howell cameras? I've actually been thinking about that a lot, and that might be a video for the future, but at this point, when I'm looking at the collection of cameras that I have and the type of cameras I gravitate to, there's definitely a pattern. I think both of these cameras are really, really solid, but I definitely, when I'm looking at both of them back to back, it's just, you're just getting a slight bit more detail, a slight bit more quality. When you go up to the Super 8, you're just getting like a smaller gauge, and so you're looking at a little bit less detail. And, that's with 88, that's just kind of part of the charm. The last thing that I want to say regarding looking at just the raw scans of the Ektachrome from both cameras is that while in post-production we can achieve the same look using negative film, I mean, you can do anything in post-production these days. There's you can take digital and try to make it approximate film as much as you want as well. I don't even really want to get into that, but just in terms of the color and the saturation, obviously we could take that into DaVinci and make any kind of film stock, any color film stock look similar. But I do have to say, one of the things that we like about film, one of the things that's appealing about it, one of the things that's charming about it is the inherent qualities of the film stock and the inherent personality of the film stock. And there is something really exciting about getting your scans back from the lab, and they're already so saturated and so rich in color. So this is definitely a film stock that I'll return to again. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see and you're interested in motion picture film, small gauge film, and that accompanying equipment like cameras and maybe eventually I'll get a projector and things like that. I hope that you'll stick around and subscribe to the channel. This channel, of course, is Critical Crop Top Films, and all of the videos for this series are in the 50-Foot Woman playlist. If you want more, I also have a Substack where I share links to this video series, but also photo walks that I've gone on, my journey with still photography. I've been testing out some different film stocks and still photography, and also, sort of a diary of sorts on my development, working with still photography and motion picture film. The link to my Substack blog is in the description of this video. It's a gorgeous spring day in Atlanta today, and I'm actually going to be taking a little trip out of town this weekend. I'm going to be taking my Super 8 camera with me and a couple of different cartridges of film stock so I can be ready for anything. So I hope that you too are going to be getting out there, grabbing your favorite cartridge of film stock, and let's shoot more film, you guys.